The big wheel keeps on turning, and Brown Mary keeps on burning. And we're rolling, we're rolling, we're rolling on Mary Trump Live with all the MAGA tears in the cracker barrels. Mary Trump is not here today, folks. She's taking the day off. Don't you worry, she'll be back. But I'm guest hosting Brown Mary, otherwise known as Wajahat Ali. And folks, we're going to take a few moments today to enjoy the MAGA tears. They're always sugar for my chai. But we have to get to some serious stuff. As Donald Trump is sinking in the polls, as the economy is floundering, as the Epstein scandal is not going away, Donald Trump is tripling down, folks, on his authoritarian ambitions, the overreach and the racism. That's all he has. It's all part and parcel of the end game. White Christian nationalism, white supremacy, and the broligarchy. It's distraction and part of the end game, folks, because he does not want to talk about Epstein. He does not want to talk about the fact that there's no crime here in DC, folks, outside of the Union Station where I went yesterday and there were tanks. Sorry, it's at a record low, but he has, pardoned the 1,600 violent insurrectionists. He has, given a sweetheart deal to Ghislaine Maxwell. He doesn't want to talk about all of that, but we're going to talk about all of it and more. Let's jump in. It's the authoritarian overreach for the man with cankles and big boobs. I'm talking about Donald Trump and the MAGA agenda to go full-scale right-wing authoritarian. Folks, in the book 1984 and the movie, the book was much better, the final most essential command was not to trust the evidence of your eyes and ears. That was the final most essential command of the authoritarian regime, to not trust the evidence of your eyes and ears. In the past week, folks, in the past week alone, just based on Donald Trump's rhetoric and his actions, we can clearly see, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, this man does not want to leave. He's not going to leave peacefully. He's selling 2028 merch. When Ukrainian leader Zelensky and European leaders came on Monday, you know what Donald Trump did? He took them to his little side merch shop where he was showing off Trump 2028, MAGA 2028 hats, okay? This man is not going to leave. He's going full authoritarian. There are the National Guard members just wasting their time in the nation's capital. Folks, I went to New York yesterday on Amtrak. I went to Union Station. What did I see for the first time in my life? Two tanks for no reason whatsoever. National Guard members just sitting there wasting their time. 50% of the people were disgusted. 25% of the people were tourists taking photos with the tanks and the National Guard members. The other 25% were protesting. The economy is down. Check it out. This is Jessica Tarlov on Fox. In the wake of Trump tariffs, John Deere announced layoffs. PepsiCo will increase prices by 10%. My beloved Sony PS5, thank God I got it during the Biden years, is raising prices in the US by $50 across all models. Electric bills are up 10%. The price of groceries, folks, groceries. How are your grocery prices doing? Because Donald Trump promised us as soon as he would be elected, the price of eggs would go down. Oh, they haven't gone down. He is negative double digits on the economy, negative double digits on the trade war, negative double digits on inflation. He's -5 now, -5 on immigration, -5 on negative double digits on inflation. Folks, it is bad. And he's negative double digits on the Epstein files. Yes, the Epstein files. And folks, speaking of the Epstein files real quick, they ain't going away. They ain't going away at all. Texas Democrats are planning to stall the Republican redistricting effort until the Epstein files are released. We had Elise Stefanik come out. It was beautiful. Elise Stefanik came out, booze upon booze upon booze, because her own base is saying, where are the Epstein files? And today, a judge essentially told Donald Trump that the DOJ can release the Epstein files if it wants to, that the grand jury testimony might actually endanger the identity of the victims. Oh, the victims? So the Epstein files aren't going away. So what will Donald Trump do? He will go authoritarian. Folks, Donald is proposing a major new investment for the U.S. government, marking a major change in tune when it comes to tech company Intel. Donald and his staff are in talks to secure a 10% stake in Intel in exchange for converting government grants that were pledged to Intel under President Biden. If the deal is completed, the U.S. government would become one of Intel's largest shareholders and blur their traditional line separating the public sector and private sector. Okay, caucusocracy, okay, kleptocracy, okay, broligarchy. This also comes after Donald took to his failing social media app earlier this month, demanding the CEO of Intel step down. He said, quote, CEO of Intel is highly conflicted and must resign immediately. There's no other solution to this problem. Thank you for your attention to this problem. Can we just keep that up, Lexi, for a second? Let's go back. We got DJ Lexi. Give it up to DJ Lexi, who's helping me out. Let me just read that last slide. There's no other solution to this problem. Thank you for your attention to this problem. Folks, this is who we have. White supremacy is ultimately dumb, destructive, and self-destructive. I want to remind people, a report just came out this week, MSNBC, that the Trump family has made a whopping nearly $3.5 billion. $3.5 billion during Donald Trump's presidency. It's a grift. Along with the authoritarian impulses, it's a grift. The rich get richer. The billionaires get their permanent tax cuts. $3.3 trillion added to the deficit. It comes at the expense of Medicaid. Oh, you know, that gives health insurance to 20% of Americans. And because of the big, beautiful bill from hell, the billionaire bill, we also got $180 billion to ICE. Yes, ICE will now have 10,000 agents. And another report came out that ICE is ramping up detention centers and prisons. What was the company whose stock prices soared on election night? You want to take a guess? Private prisons. Who's going to go in those private prisons? You can't have detention centers be empty. You got to make money. These detention centers got to eat. So you're going to get more and more people, more and more Americans fed to the prison industrial complex, folks. All of this is happening. And while this is happening, the grift is happening and Donald Trump is getting money, money, money. Speaking about the government overreach, the constant theme of Donald Trump's presidency, in addition to, the grift and racism and white supremacy and fascism and incompetence, he is also working to take over the Smithsonian and literally rewrite our history. I want to remind you again, Orwell warned us in 1984, the final, most essential command of Big Brother was to ignore the evidence of your eyes and ears, to rewrite history, to ban books, to only trust what Big Brother tells you. And that's what Donald Trump is trying to do. It is authoritarianism 101. The banning of books, going after DEI, CRT, scrubbing our history books, removing the Navajo code talkers, removing Jackie Robinson, removing Tuskegee Airmen. Literally, folks, removing transgender people. If you go and look at these government sites, what they try to do, instead of LGBT, they literally have taken off the T. This is fascism. Like I said, folks, we don't do it like Credence. We do it like Tina. All right. This is Proud Mary, Brown Mary. We keep it nice and rough here, right? We're going to take these Cracker Barrels and we're going to roll them all over Trump and MAGA today, right? Big wheel keeps on turning. Proud Mary keeps on burning. We're going to roll. We're going to bring all the receipts. Lexi, DJ Lexi, and I are in the arts, if you will. I'm an English major. Lexi loved the arts, and Lexi was talking to me, and she said, man, this takeover of the Smithsonian, this attempt to rewrite history, this really is freaking me out. I mean, she said, this is the news story that's freaking out her. Are you an art major, Lexi? What were you? Yeah, art major, I got it. I knew it. She gave me a thumbs up. Her art major heart is crying right now because, folks, I want to keep the receipts that, speaking about rewriting history, it was just about a week and a half ago that Donald Trump bullied the Smithsonian to remove Donald Trump's inclusion in their impeachment exhibit. Donald Trump has been impeached. In fact, he's been impeached more than any other president. He's been twice impeached. He bullied him to remove his name from the exhibit, and then Smithsonian came back. So, of course, Donald Trump, because again, folks, I want to connect the dots here. It's the grift, it's right-wing authoritarianism, and it's also white supremacy. It's all connected. Folks, last night on his broken down social media site, instead of talking about Epstein, instead of talking about the economy, instead of talking about high grocery prices, Donald Trump decided to post the following. And I have to do it in his voice because I cannot read it in a normal voice. I think we just have to realize this man is an idiot and a clown. So let's do it. Let's read it in his voice. The museums throughout Washington are essentially the last remaining segment of, all caps, quote for no reason, woke. The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. I have instructed my attorneys to go through the museums and start the exact same process that has been done with colleges and universities, where tremendous progress has been made. This country cannot be woke because, all caps for no reason, woke is broke. We have, you can't make this shut up, folks. We have, quote, in all caps, the hottest country in the world. And we want people to talk about it, including in our museums. Lexi, we got to talk about this for a second. We got to talk about this. First and foremost, slavery was horrible. Slavery was beyond horrible. Slavery was one of the worst things that this country has ever done. Black folks, their children, their children's children, forever were entrenched in a system of white supremacy in which white landowners were able to make so much money, where the American economy, especially in the South, was able to boom due to free labor provided to this country by black men and women who had no control over their bodies, their voices, or their votes, denied everything. They weren't even seen as fully human beings. They couldn't read. If they were caught reading, they were killed. If they looked at a slave owner the wrong way, they were killed. They were raped. They were mutilated. They were tortured. It was thanks to black people and their sweat and their blood and their work and their labor that this country was great. Black people had to die. Black people had to bleed for years, for decades. And then there was a civil war. And the civil war was because the South wanted to impose and keep this torturous, barbaric, cruel institution of slavery that was so horrific that the Nazis, yes, the Nazis, looked at racism and segregation and Jim Crow in America and said, they've mastered it. Wow, they're the goats. We got to implement this in Nazi Germany. The Nazi Germans took notes from how the United States and specifically the South implemented not just slavery, but post-slavery Jim Crow and segregation, folks. That's how terrible slavery was. It wasn't enough to even be a kid. Even a kid was a slave. You were stuck in it for life. And folks, there was a civil war in this country where people said, you know what? We would rather be traitors to this country. We would rather destroy ourselves than give up slavery. And then this country, which coddles white grievance, that coddles white rage, that coddles white racists like Donald Trump by calling them, suffering from economic anxiety, even though every single poll has shown, every single study has shown that it's predominantly, not exclusively, cultural anxiety that drives MAGA voters, right? Instead of calling Donald Trump a racist, what do we say? He had a racial trip up. Instead of confronting these people head on, what did Gavin Newsom do? And don't worry, I'll bring it back full circle. Gavin Newsom, when he had a podcast a couple of months ago, remember what Democrats did? Well, we got to throw the woke under the bus. We've got to throw trans people under the bus. Gavin Newsom on his podcast hosted Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon and agreed with them and their talking points against trans people, right? This country has always coddled white supremacy, always coddled white rage, always coddled white grievance. Not only that, we tried to rehabilitate them. Jefferson Davis and Robert E. Lee were white racist slavers who were traitors to this country and lost the war. We have statues and buildings named after them. Can you imagine what would it take for me to have a building named after me? I would have to create buildings. Like, this is how absurd this country is. And this is what Donald Trump is doing. He's trying to bring back the Confederacy. They're trying to take this country back, folks, to not 1952. I was wrong. 10 years ago, I said they want to take this country back to 1952, 1953, before Brown versus Board of Education, in which the Supreme Court said that segregation was unconstitutional. No, folks, they want to take this country back to the 1860s, all right? They want to take this country back where the white men can say and do whatever they wanted. And if you think I'm making this up, well, folks, we're going to talk about the National Guard in a bit. And guess who's sending their National Guard to terrorize DC? the southern slave states. Okay, so it's all ramping up, and I want you all just to connect the dots, folks. People are saying it's distraction, distraction, distraction. Yes, it's distraction from the economy, from the terrible poll numbers, from Epstein, but it's also part and parcel of the end game. White Christian nationalism, white supremacy, the grift, where the white man, the rich white man, the white landowner, who has now become the millionaire and the billionaire, will get to say and do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to pay attention to women, doesn't have to pay attention to the woke, DEI, trans people, people of color, immigrants, can say whatever he wants, do whatever he wants, and makes money off of our labor by any violent means necessary. I told you we're coming in hot today, folks. We're going to come in hot. We're just getting started. Trump, the overreach is not just limited to the Smithsonian. It's not just limited to the Kennedy Center. It's not just limited to the judiciary. It's not just limited to law enforcement. He's also coming after the Fed. But this time, it ain't just Chair Jerome Powell. Oh, you know, the man that he put in. Remember, this man is so old. I keep the receipts. Donald Trump was saying, who's the one who put in Jerome Powell? This man's terrible. You did, you old doddering man with cankles. He forgot because he's a 79-year-old man. He's old. No disrespect to old people. There's some 79-year-old folks who are doing fantastic, 80 years old. This man eats friggin' bad steak, hamburgers, Diet Coke. He couldn't even walk in a straight line. Did you see when Putin visited? Donald Trump laid out the red carpet for his master because he's Putin's bitch. He's Putin's pet. Forgive me for my language, but keeping it real. He couldn't even walk in a straight line. He was just doddering. He's an old, decaying man who's getting very, very desperate, folks. So now he's ramping it up, right? Economy's bad. Job reports came out bad. Prices are up. Inflation is up. He's negative double digits on the trade wars, on the economy, on inflation. So now he's got to find a scapegoat. Who am I going to go against? Oh yeah, the woman who was a doctor, who's a commissioner of the BLS. Let me fire her and replace her with this completely unqualified January 6th insurrectionist. I'm forgetting his name. The white dude who, by the way, folks, speaking of how it all comes together, this white dude whose name I'm forgetting. Someone put his name down. I think it's EJ something, right? On his Zoom, totally normal. You know what he has as a Zoom background? Hitler's favorite ship. Totally normal, right? So he needs scapegoats. So now he's found a scapegoat. He's found a woman. He's calling on Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook to resign after a member of his regime accused Cook of committing mortgage fraud. Fraud done by Donald Trump is fine. Violent insurrection is fine. Grifting is fine. Crypto is fine. But allegedly, Lisa Cook has committed mortgage fraud, so he has to purge. Bill Pulte, I think that's his name. I don't give a shit if I pronounce his name properly. Director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency sent a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi urging her to investigate, oh no, not Epstein, not Ghislaine Maxwell, not the violent insurrectionists, but Lisa Cook, Federal Reserve Governor, for alleged mortgage fraud. Though the Justice Department has yet to make a comment or indicate that they're willing to investigate Cook, Donald Trump still went ahead and demanded her resignation on his untruth social media app. Folks, this is what they're doing because they're trying to distract. Again, I want to remind people, we'll get to the Epstein files, so we'll get to all of it. I want to remind people, Ghislaine Maxwell is a pedophile. Ghislaine Maxwell was the partner in crime of Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell abused hundreds of girls. They raped girls. Jeffrey Epstein openly said, according to the tapes that we have from Michael Wolff, that he was Donald Trump's closest friend. Michael Wolff, when I talked to him, and last time I guest hosted, thank you, Lexi, they brought the clips of my conversation with Michael Wolff, said Epstein and Donald Trump used to party together in the 90s. It was out in the open. They used to chase models aged 14 to 20. Donald Trump sent Jeffrey Epstein a personalized gaudy note for his 50th birthday, in which Ghislaine Maxwell compiled a book for Jeffrey Epstein from all these famous people sending these, positive notes. One of those notes was sent by Donald Trump. Donald Trump in 2002 openly said, Jeffrey Epstein, good guy, likes girls that hurt, he likes them young, he, right? This is a man who is all over the Epstein files. What we found out from the Wall Street Journal, that flaming bastion of left-wing wokeness, that Wall Street Journal owned by Rupert Murdoch, is that Pam Bondi told Donald Trump in May that he's all over the Epstein files, which means, folks, Donald Trump is lying to you, which means he has been lying to the American public, and which means, folks, they have been engaged in an active cover-up. So how do you distract Okay, I just gave Ghislaine Maxwell, who groomed and raped girls, a sweetheart deal, which is unheard of, where she got transferred from from Florida to Texas, and now is cleared for work release. We don't know if she's asked for it, but she is now cleared for work release, where she's getting a sweetheart deal in a minimum security camp. No one so far from the administration has answered why this happened. Who authorized this? How did the Bureau of Prison, remove her sex offender status, allowed her to go here? But we all know it's because of the quid pro quo. Because Donald Trump's personal attorney, Todd Blanche, met Ghislaine Maxwell, and after 2 days, folks, guess what? Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney went on social media asking Donald Trump and the Supreme Court for a commutation or pardon. Less than a week later after that, she gets moved, and now she's commuted. They can't explain it. They can't explain 1,600 violent insurrectionists, 600 insurrectionists, including violent insurrectionists who got pardoned. So distract from all the grifting, the crypto, distract from the poll numbers. Go after Lisa Cook. Folks, it's not working. But as Donald tries to take over the Fed, he continues to come for DC. Folks, told you I'm going to bring the receipts. In October, Donald Trump said, I would unleash the National Guard and the military against the enemy from within. Now, two things about this. The enemy from within, he quoted Hitler yet again. That was Hitler's language. He's also quoted Hitler talking about immigrants poisoning the blood of this country. And then he alleged, he had to come up with it himself. He also sat with Hitler lover and dined with Nick Fuentes and also Kanye. Never apologized for that. I've been saying since October, take him literally and seriously. He is literally like the most helpful Bond supervillain, sharing the plot with James Bond in the first 10 minutes of the movie. He said, I will unleash the National Guard and military. I've been trying every single platform I could since October. Folks, take him literally and seriously. This is what they're going to do. They also wrote their master plan in Project 2025. It's all there. So guess what's happening in the United States of America, folks? As Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting there comfy and cozy in Texas, the woman whom victims of Epstein said raped. She didn't just groom him, didn't just stalk him. She also helped Epstein rape them. That's what the Farmer sister said. That's what Virginia Giuffre said, who was passed around like a platter of fruit. Those were her words to rich, powerful men. She said before she died, and she died by suicide in April, that in addition to grooming, in addition to stalking, in addition to making these girls trust him, Ghislaine Maxwell also joined Epstein in raping these girls. I want to use these words, rape. I know it's a tough word to hear, but that's what Ghislaine Maxwell did. It should be the number one news. And instead of going after pedophiles, instead of going after violent insurrection, instead of going after white supremacists and white nationalist groups with the number one domestic terror threat, he has unleashed the National Guard and the military against American citizens and residents. Number one, he's been terrorizing Los Angeles. What we said on this show was he is going to normalize it. The fact that he got away with it in LA, he's going to do it again. And now he's doing it in DC. Folks, he's doing it in DC. Like I said, I went to the Amtrak yesterday, went to New York. I saw tanks for the first time. These National Guard members are getting wasted, folks. And to connect the dots, who has decided to send their National Guard to help terrorize DC, which by the way, folks, has a historic low in violent crime. Violent crime has gone down in DC. Violent crime actually has gone down in the United States of America, right? So they're lying about the murder rates. They're lying about the crime rates. No person in the corporate media is literally putting the microphone in front of their face and saying, why are you lying about this, right? So as they're lying to justify unleashing the National Guard and normalizing the military terrorizing Americans. And why have they done this, folks? Because I'm going to go on record and say it. I believe it's because Donald Trump, out of desperation, if the gerrymandering, if the mail-in voting, if all these things he's doing, right, the electoral reform, which is just rigging the election, doesn't work, I believe he's setting up America for martial law. He's going to say, look, folks, invasion, there's a threat by the power vested in me. I'm the commander in chief. I have to declare martial law. I'm going to invoke the Insurrection Act. And now he has 10,000 ICE agents who are masked, armed, Gestapo, who are openly on camera. People are videotaping them. They're just operating with impunity, folks. They're openly mocking liberals, openly praising the Proud Boys. He has his own Gestapo. And now he's normalized the National Guard and the military in our nation's capital. I'm telling you, folks, I live in Virginia. It's 20 minutes away from me. I went there yesterday. There's no reason for this. None. DC is, relatively, in fact, the safest it's been in years. And all this does is waste our resources. So the South, the Confederacy, the lost cause, the southern states who decided to commit treason and secede from the Union, southern states like South Carolina and Louisiana have decided to send the National Guard to help Donald Trump terrorize DC residents, folks. And guess what? I've always said white supremacy is very dumb, very destructive, but very self-destructive. Folks, hurricane season's about to come. You remember Hurricane Katrina? You know who helped out during, hurricanes and storms? The National Guard. That's how destructive white supremacy is. They're willing to destroy themselves to bend the knee to their daddy and their king, Donald Trump, who's a grifter and a racist, folks. And speaking about racists and grifters who came to make the case for the National Guard to be in DC, you had the three musketeers, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller, Pete Hegseth, all racist. I'll make my case in a second. All visited the National Guard today, faced protesters, and made the case for why they had to have the National Guard. And folks, DC residents are pissed. Watch this clip.
And the last thing I'll say is to the American people, DC is already safer than it was 9 days ago, but we're going to make it safer still to come. This is your city. You should feel free to come and visit here, have a meal, see all these incredible monuments, and actually enjoy yourself. And that's what we're trying to make happen. And I think that if we set a standard in Washington, D.C., that political willpower can bring some common sense, law and order back to these communities, then maybe some other communities and other cities will follow suit. So it's kind of crazy. You hear these guys outside. They appear to hate the idea that Americans can enjoy their communities, and they do the fact that D.C. a week ago had a higher murder rate than Trinidad and Tobago, which the United States State Department has said you shouldn't visit because it's unsafe. We ought to be able to enjoy great American cities. That's what we're trying to do in the Trump administration.
Go F a couch, JD. Shut the F up. You're lying. Bullshit. Can't believe he just said that right now. Any reporter, next time they have a microphone in front of JD Vance, and said, why are you lying about the violent crime in DC? Why did you just say that DC has the same violent statistics as Trinidad and Tobago? Where did you get that complete bullshit statistic? Did you know that DC and actually America has fallen in violent crime? Why are you lying to the American public, sir? And also, why did you call Donald Trump America's Hitler? And also, why do you follow Curtis Yarvin, this complete crank techno-fascist racist, who, by the way, said that capitalism is incompatible with democracy? Sir, do you believe that as well? And by the way, Pete Hegseth, why did you repost approvingly the CNN segment with the Church of Christ leader who is against the 19th Amendment, who said that women shouldn't vote, who is an extremist, who is for the use of force, and is a white Christian nationalist? Oh, we just found out you're a congregant of his church. Do you believe, sir, that the 19th Amendment should be repealed? Do you believe that women belong in the kitchen? Do you believe that America should be a white Christian nationalist nation without any separation of church and state? Oh, I don't know. Maybe someone should ask these people. And oh, Stephen Miller. Oh, I'm so glad that you're there as well. Budget Goebbels. Sir, why do you promote white nationalist talking points and conspiracy theories? And why did you use Breitbart to funnel these white supremacist conspiracy theories in Trump and Donald Trump's first administration? And why do you promote the white nationalist fictional book Camp of the Saints? And sir, is it true that you told ICE agents that they have to meet a quota of 3,000 people? And is it true, according to that Wall Street Journal article, that you actually deliberately unleashed ICE against innocent brown folks in LA, going after Home Depot and 7-Eleven, deliberately trying to stir up provocation, deliberately trying to stir up shit so you can unleash and justify the militarization of LA? I don't know. That's top of my head. That's just top of my head, folks. I would like to ask those questions. All right. But you heard booing. I hope you heard the booing, because folks, I can tell you, there are a lot of Republicans who live in DC. And I said this before. There's some rich people who live in DC, and there's white folks who live in DC, and there's Republican voters who live in DC. And I said, when you have the National Guard unleashed and they hurt traffic and they hurt business and they hurt people's morale, and people ain't going to visit DC anymore, they're going to be pissed. And oh, they were booing. And oh, they were pissed. And then when I was there, the people who were protesting were the whites. And folks, in fact, that sentiment of DC residents getting pissed is now backed up by stats. A new survey from the Washington Post and Schar School found that 79% of DC residents either somewhat or strongly oppose the efforts, compared to just 17% who backed it. Guarantee you by next week, that number will go up. It's no surprise that DC residents are against the hostile takeover of the city. The National Guard has been seeing, I can confirm this, doing a whole lot of nothing. They're just sitting there. They're doing nothing. There's nothing to do because violent crime, I mean, the DC police has this, folks. They have it. Yes, there's crime in every city. That's why you have local law enforcement. They're just lounging around. And if they're lounging around, that means they're not doing their job. They're not actually protecting us from actual national security threats. White supremacy is so dumb. It is so ineffective. It is so destructive. It's so self-destructive that they are actually making us less safe. These southern states who are sending their National Guard are making their residents less safe from the hurricanes that are about to come. Oh, it's so painful. Folks, I can tell you when I was going in an Uber yesterday, my Uber driver straight up told me, he goes, he lived close to me in Virginia, and he said, I decided to take this ride. I saw your name. You're a Muslim like me. I haven't gone to DC for a week ever since they brought in the National Guard. He's a Muslim African immigrant. And he said, me and my other friends who drive Uber have stayed away from the city. Immigrants, black and brown people, yeah, we're the ones who dominate Lyft and Uber, right? So you got taxi cabs and Uber drivers staying away from the city. Who's that going to hurt the city? Washington Post just came out with an article a couple of days ago that said bars, right, restaurants have seen a huge dive in revenue because people ain't going to DC. They're like, F that. I'll just go to Virginia or Maryland during happy hour, right? It's hurting the economy. It's hurting just basic people getting back and forth. It's hurting morale. What a damn shame. And they're doing this to distract, but they're also doing this because a lot of black people in DC. So how do they justify black crime? That's what it is, folks. Smithsonian. What are they going after? Slavery. Why are they talking about slavery? DEI, Pete Hegseth, right? Scrubbing DEI. And meanwhile, you have affirmative action for the world's most mediocre whites. The mediocrity in the form of Stephen Miller, Hegseth, and J.D. Vance. All of this is coming together, paving the way for right-wing authoritarianism, folks. Fascism. You all with me? You all still with me? I told you I'm in a mood. If you don't believe me, they're going to cheat. And how have they decided to cheat? Oh, redistricting. Donald Trump has openly told Republicans he wants 5 seats in the House. Why? Because they know they're set up to lose the House. And they might just lose the Senate now too, folks. So he's openly saying, give me the 5 seats. Give me the 5 seats. Texas redistricting, right? As the battle to redistrict Texas continues, Republicans are trying to push their new maps through and fast. They don't give an F. They're openly saying, our daddy and our king says he wants 5 seats. We'll do it. Texas House Republicans are currently leading a heated debate over the new map that would add 5 Republican seats with the map, surprise, surprise, expected to pass chamber later this afternoon. All of this, by the way, has happened by force as Texas state troopers and Republicans are leading the charge and are holding, they're literally holding Democrats hostage to meet quorum. When the Democrats returned to the state on Monday, Republicans insisted that the Democrats have around-the-clock police escorts to ensure they wouldn't leave again and ruin the planned House vote. But one representative, and I think it's very instructive, and I think it's on the nose, and if you're a student of American history, it makes sense. One representative, Nicole Collier, a black woman, would not sign what Democrats call the, quote, permission slip needed to leave the House chamber, a half-page form allowing Department of Public Safety troopers to follow them. Southern troopers following and harassing black people. Have we seen that before? Have we seen that before in American history? So Representative Collier, respect, spent Monday night and Tuesday night on the House floor. She did not leave her place of work for over 2 days. They've held her hostage. And now she's suing Texas Republicans who are forcing, and this is it, confinement or surveillance. In the lawsuit where she's suing for illegal confinement, she says, quote, the government is without any legal authority to detain members when a quorum is not needed to conduct business. It also demands that Collier be immediately released by the sergeant of arms. Folks, a black woman being held against her will confined, and surveilled by white men. To quote Rage Against the Machine, and this is just to show you I'm an old head, this is a deep cut, but I think the young kids love it. Killing in the Name of, from their self-titled first album and my favorite album, Rage Against the Machine. Some of those who work forces are the same who burn crosses. This is American history. This is why you need to know the history. This is a reboot of white supremacy. They want to take this country back to 1860. I've been saying it for years. My co-host Danielle has been saying it for years. You have to understand white supremacy. You have to understand capitalism to understand the two sins of America that this country refuses to acknowledge, refuses to confront, refuses to kill, which will be our undoing. And right now, those two sins of white supremacy and capitalism are the undoing of America. And the manifestation of white supremacy, capitalism, and I will say mediocrity, is Donald Trump. He's literally the avatar of all our sins, the avatar of all of our worst carnal appetites, made in flesh, rendered in orange, sagging, cankled flesh of Donald Trump. Literally, this is the id of America unleashed. And folks, they're going all in. They don't care. Russell Vought, they say there's two shadow presidents, Stephen Miller and Russell Vought. Russell Vought is an open white Christian nationalist, admits it. He's the head of the OMB, Office of Management and Budget. He's the co-author of Project 2025. The other shadow president who has full reign, they say, is Stephen Miller, an out-and-out avowed white nationalist. He's willing to burn the country down if it means implementing his white nationalist vision. He hates immigrants, hates people of color. He's obsessed with demographic numbers, right? They all talk about the replacement theory. And Stephen Miller is the son of a Jewish couple. It doesn't matter because he thinks that somehow he will be safe, folks. And these white nationalists, they hate Jews. They love Israel, Jews, not so much. And they love Israel because the white Christian nationalists believe Jews have to control Jerusalem in order for Jesus to return. And when Jesus returns, the first group that he kills is Jews. That's why they love Israel so much. Jews, not so much. Israel, yeah. Jews, not so much. This is what we're dealing with, folks. And another news that came out yesterday, and just to show you where we're in, folks. Speaking about the mediocrity, speaking about white supremacists, speaking about conspiracy theorists, speaking about these grifters, speaking about how all these people, the worst of the worst, are aligned. Laura Loomer, folks, was so unhinged, is so hateful, is so conspiratorial that Twitter banned her. She was so unhinged that she handcuffed herself to Twitter headquarters. This is before Elon. She's so Islamophobic, so hateful, also a Jew who's a white nationalist, that Marjorie Taylor Greene said, this BB crazy. She's so cray that Marjorie Taylor Greene says she's too racist for me. That woman has the ear of Donald Trump. That woman is more influential in 2025 America than Marco Rubio or JD Vance. That woman has had at least 2 private meetings with Donald Trump in the White House, where based upon her advice, he has removed Mike Waltz, fired folks, and as of last night, on the advice of Laura Loomer, he took away the security clearance of an undercover CIA operative. Yesterday, in New York Times, Trump revoked security clearances of 37 former and current officials. Again, he's going after the experts, law enforcement officials, the people actually keeping us safe. He's promoting white Christian nationalists, racists, pardoned violent insurrectionists, pardoned Ross Ulbricht, the head of Silk Road, which was the hub of drug trafficking, and has given a cushy deal to the most notorious pedophile alive, Ghislaine Maxwell. President Trump revoked the security clearances of 37 current and former national security officials, many of whom worked on Russia analysis or foreign threats to U.S. elections, according to the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. One of these people is a senior CIA analyst currently serving undercover, which means their cover is now blown and that person's life is at threat. And Laura Loomer went on Twitter and said, I have more scalps. Jan Hodgson said, watch, take a breath. I'm on a roll. Can you all hear me? I think fast, I talk fast. I'm sorry. But as long as you people can understand me. Yes, Nura says yes. Laura Loomer, based upon her influence, folks, another piece of news story I don't want you to all forget. There's a genocide happening in Gaza. It's phase 5 starvation. Children are starving to death because of Israel's blockade of humanitarian aid. More than 1,200 people have died. Palestinians, unarmed Palestinians, have been shot to death and killed by Israel as they went to food aid distribution sites. IDF soldiers said they were commanded to target these unarmed, starving Palestinians who went to, now there's only 3 food aid distribution sites, and fire at them. They've killed more than 1,200 people. Some of these kids, some of these amputees, some of these children were allowed in the United States of America, temporarily allowed, right? Laura Loomer called up Marco Rubio and said, you cannot have these jihadists come. This is just last week. Look at the cruelty. And so Marco Rubio, listening to Laura Loomer, said, okay, can't allow that. And so these Palestinian children who are starving and injured, who found a moment of reprieve in the United States of America, were denied entry. And it's so gross, and I can't believe I'm saying this, that Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and said, why do we do this? When you make me side with Marjorie Taylor Greene, shame on you, MAGA. Shame on you. We need people to fight back, folks. I hope in these 40 minutes, I know I went through a lot. I know it seemed like a blitzkrieg, a fire hose. We're trying to keep you informed, and I'm trying my best to keep you all, to connect the dots. This is a story that has plagued America from the beginning. This is a story where America would rather destroy itself than share a house with a person of color. You know, the analogy I give is, if you have a white man, not all white men, just bear with me. If you give a white MAGA male, one of these folks who's a triple Trumper, a choice between sharing the house with me, a woman, or person of color, an LGBTQ person, or burning down the house, they have elected to burn down the village. They have chosen to burn down the village. If you don't believe me, I give you the election of Donald Trump, the man who's completely unqualified. Speaking about affirmative action for the world's most mediocre men, Donald Trump being president. How? How? Because he's failed up in life, protected through whiteness, through celebrity, and through wealth. It all connects to Donald Trump. The twin sins of America, white supremacy and greed. And now it's destroying us. White supremacy, as I've said twice before on the show, I'll say it again. In addition to being dumb, in addition to being so violent and destructive, it is ultimately self-destructive. They're destroying this country. Tourism to this country has gone down. We've lost at least $12 billion in revenue from foreign tourists. We might lose up to $50 billion, right? The trade war is a effing disaster. We've seen enrollment in universities go down. Foreigners are not coming in. By the way, foreign students, guess what? They don't get the subsidies, so we need them because they pay full price. They pay full tuition. They're like, F you, I don't think we're wanted. They're going to Europe. RFK speaking about the mediocrity, not a doctor, complete anti-vax nut who promotes, again, racism, eugenics. The best, brightest minds, scientists are being poached by Europe, China. They're fleeing, all right? A life expectancy in America has gone down by 3 years, folks. Measles has gone up. We're not in a recession yet. But I had a fantastic econ professor. He's great, Justin Walfers from the University of Michigan. He said 50%. He said at 50%, and he's cautious. So the economy, the prices, inflation, our friggin' reputation. Donald Trump laid out the red carpet for Russia. He laid out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin. He welcomed Vladimir Putin to Alaska. Vladimir Putin, folks, Russia has abducted 20,000 Ukrainian kids. 20,000. I had Terrell J. Starr, who's a Black American expert on Ukraine, literally an expert on Ukraine. He did a master's in it. He's reporting now from Kyiv. He said, in addition to molesting and abusing and torturing these kids, some of these kids are being brainwashed. It's like Winter Soldier. So they're kidnapping these Ukrainian kids and brainwashing them with pro-Russian propaganda, right? And Vladimir Putin literally openly admitted to interfering in the 2016 election. He came in, he put an earworm in Donald Trump's ear. He said, I think you won the 2020 election. By the way, mail-in ballots, why do you still allow that? And Donald Trump's been obsessed with it ever since. You know who voted for through mail-in voting? Donald Trump. Donald Trump did. And Donald Trump, being an old man, he said, you know, they asked me for my license plate when I went to vote. Please tell me, anyone, the 5,500 people are watching, show me a photo of when you brought your license plate to vote. Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? He's an idiot. He probably thought, what do you probably think? his license. He probably got a license, right? And he also said you need your license to buy groceries. The man has never bought groceries. This is the man. This is the man. He probably confused ID with a license plate. And now, yes, PragerU, white Christian nationalism, saying slavery wasn't that bad, replacing PBS. Folks, you're seeing it all together. The greed, the fascism, the authoritarianism, and the racism, all connecting. Elon Musk, techno-fascism, the eugenics, the racism, the greed. Russell Vought, the white Christian nationalist. Stephen Miller, the white nationalist. The thing that combines it all together, right? The Venn diagram that connects them all together is the desire for power by any violent means necessary, the hatred of multiculturalism and democracy, and the grift. We need people to fight back. Thankfully, finally, Gavin Newsom got the memo, because that same Gavin Newsom, who, by the way, when Trump won, what did he do? What did the Democrats do? I bring all the receipts. Democrats said, we gotta find the liberal Joe Rogan. Let's spend millions of dollars finding the liberal Joe Rogan, and let's throw the woke under the bus. Elisa Slotkin, the centrist, Democrat from Michigan, whom they chose to respond to Donald Trump's state of the, whatever that was called, Lexi, state of the bullshit. Remember that? It's only been 7 months. It seems like 7 years. And the only thing I remember from Elissa Slotkin's response was how she praised Ronald Reagan. That Elissa Slotkin, who went to an Ivy League in New York, that Elissa Slotkin, who is a former CIA agent, but says, oh, I'm a simple woman from Michigan. I can't comment about Mamdani. I don't know. What do I know? I'm an unfrozen caveman lawyer. Yeah, that Elissa Slotkin. Elissa Slotkin said her war plan was to go against the weak and the woke. How did that work out, Democrats? How did that work out? We told you. Did it make MAGA love you? No. So Gavin Newsom decided, we gotta throw trans people under the bus, and let me kiss up and let me coddle the white Christian nationalists. Let me coddle the racists. This country always coddles the Confederacy, always coddles the Lost Cause, always coddles Jefferson Davis, always coddles Robert E. Lee, always coddles the racists for Donald Trump. Can't call him racist. Can't say racist. Have to say economic anxiety. F that. I'm going to call him racist on Mary Trump's show. Brown Mary, I'm telling you, man, big wheel keeps on turning. Brown Mary keeps on burning. We're rolling, and we're rolling these Cracker Barrels. Gavin Newsom finally realized, oh, shit, Democrats want a fighter. No matter how much I bend the knee, they still hate us. So Gavin Newsom finally got the effing memo. He said, all right, Texas, you're going to redistrict? Guess who is the governor of the most populous state in America? I am. California, my home state, 40 million people. Guess who has independently the fourth largest economy in the world? My home state, California. All right, mother effer, you're going to redistrict? I'm going to put it up to the voters if we're going to redistrict. Take back the vote. So I believe they should have already done it. Pritzker has come out and said it. Hochul, of all people, realizes where the wind is blowing. I'm done with Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer, folks. I don't think they have it. We could talk about that later if we have some time. Hakeem Jeffries, you know what Hakeem Jeffries did a couple of days ago? Went on TV, took a crack at Mamdani. Again. Literally a few days ago. That's what Hakeem Jeffries did. Said, oh, Andrew Cuomo has a point. So Hochul gets it. So what I believe is they're a bit too far. I think they already should have done it, folks. Stop playing double dutch. If you do it, I'll do it. If you do it, I'll do it. If you'll do it, I'll do it. No, jump in and do it. And in addition to just going balls out and now putting it up to the voters, Gavin Newsom is trolling Donald Trump. Folks, I don't know if you've been paying attention the last couple of days. His social media team, I'm forgetting the name. They took a photo. It's a woman and a man. It's a young woman and a young man. Give them all the flowers. Give them a raise. They have been at it 24/7 since last week. He is not just trolling Donald Trump on social media. He's using Donald Trump's own style to troll Donald Trump. AI images, Jesus, and Hulk Hogan, blessing Gavin Newsom ripped, using all caps, random quotes. It is amazing. It's amazing, and it has made Fox lose their mind. Even just an hour ago, Kellyanne Conway, she's like, Gavin Newsom being immature, thinking he can troll. Why doesn't he just run the state of California? And the reason why they're stuck is it'll force them to admit that their king and daddy behaves just like this. This is their king and daddy. Incompetent, deranged, racist, terrible grammar. Instead of running the country, posting shit, they're losing their mind on Fox. It's amazing. And guess what, folks? What we've been saying for years, Democrats want a fighter. Play the clip, Lexi. What's happening with Gavin Newsom? Check it out.
Yeah, I think it absolutely has been working in terms of generating attention, which is what he's trying to do, right? I mean, take a look here. Let's take a look right at the @GovPress office followers on X. That's, of course, where you get those sort of the account where Newsom posts those Trump-style mocking types of tweets. Get this. That account, get this, up 450% in terms of the number of followers since mid-June. And it's not just on Twitter, X, where Newsom is gaining. Even on TikTok and Instagram, his followers are up over 1 million since January alone. My goodness gracious. And more than that, Laura, more than that, what about Google? What about those Google searches for him? Get this, daily Google searches for Gavin Newsom up like a rocket. What are we talking about? Since June 1, up 1,300%. Compared to August 1st, look at that, up 500%. So the bottom line is, in politics, especially if you're thinking of entering in 2028, it's all about generating attention. And so far, Gavin Newsom has done a good job at generating attention.
Maybe, just maybe, the Democratic base and independents want fighters. Maybe, just maybe, they want people to bring a bazooka to this knife fight. Maybe, just maybe, they're sick and tired of the old way of civil politics that doesn't work. Maybe, just maybe, they're sick and tired of us being Charlie Brown, falling for Lucy's trick again and again and again, and falling flat on our ass. And here's Gavin Newsom, after he hosted Charlie Kirk, and after he did that pivot to the right, and after he hosted Steve Bannon and conceded to their points, his numbers went down. I'll give him credit. He's agile. We need agility, people who can read the room and read the moment. He's like, okay, this is not working. Let me try something new. All right, in social media, F it. When they go low, I'll take them out by their goddamn knees. And then finally he said, you know what? If they're going to gerrymander, we'll do it too. I'll leave it up to the California voters. All right, we'll get more seats this way, which is why Republicans in California and also Republicans across the other states are like, whoa, slow down. And J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, and I don't know if you all followed this news, they didn't have to bully Texas. Texas does whatever, Florida and Texas. But they're trying to bully Ohio to do it. And the Ohio Republicans are like, I don't know. Because if Illinois and New York does it, folks, it's going to be tough for Republicans. We have the numbers. We want fighters. Stop falling for their bullshit. Stop falling for their endless grievances, their bad faith culture wars, their bad faith talking points. And here's a test. What's trending right now? Cracker Barrel. I've mentioned a couple of times. For those who aren't following the news, watch. Why are you using the analogy of the Cracker Barrel? Well, folks, Cracker Barrel is trending because of MAGA. MAGA is very pissed off. 2 weeks ago, they were pissed off about Sydney Sweeney, and now they're pissed off about the Smithsonian. And back in the day, they're pissed off about Black Little Mermaids, and they're pissed off about CRT, and they're pissed off about M&Ms. Now they're pissed off because Cracker Barrel has redesigned its logo, and Cracker Barrel has removed the white man from the barrel. The one to the right, that's the new Cracker Barrel design. All right. And now they're going up in arms and they're blaming the white female CEO for being woke. They're saying it's her fault. They've plastered her photo everywhere. And they said, how dare you remove our Cracker Barrel? And I personally think it's genius because Cracker Barrel is looking at the wind. I think it's Jennifer Welch, who's the podcast, the co-host. She had this amazing rant, I think 2 weeks ago, that we talked about that went viral, where she's a white woman, middle-aged white woman. Jennifer Welch, there you go, started the Cracker Barrel discussion, redhead to wear. Thank you. She said, I'm done with the triple Trumpers. I'm done with it. If you hate DI so much, F you, don't eat at Mexican restaurants, don't eat at Thai restaurants, don't listen to the music. All right, all these whites who triple down, all you get to eat for the rest of your life is Cracker Barrel. And Cracker Barrel realized, oh shit, aligning ourselves with MAGA or being branded with MAGA is terrible for business. So I think this is a smart move by Cracker Barrel. The CEO alleges, she says, our fans really love the design. This is like there's no controversy here. They created a controversy, just like Sydney Sweeney, just like a Black Little Mermaid, just like all the bullshit, right? And now they're saying, how dare they remove it? But just today, folks, Donald Trump said yesterday he said, when you go woke, you go broke. Really? Just today. I love this news. And I wanted to end on this news, folks. And I wanted to give you some hope because people are saying, what can we do? I just saw a comment a couple minutes ago. What can we do, Waj, against ICE? What can we do against the National Guard? What can we do against a fascist regime? We have the numbers. We have the numbers. Donald Trump is underwater. His Latino base has abandoned them. The Latino voters, the polls are back to 2016 numbers. The young voters who made a mistake are abandoning him. people realized this guy is overreaching, and the overreach is so much people said, whoa, 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 whoa. We want to be tough on the borders, but we didn't vote for masked armed agents coming to our elementary schools. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We didn't vote for the National Guard and to be unleashed against American people. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You promised that the prices would go down, bro. These trade wars are terrible. These tariffs are making everything go up. And the one thing Americans love more than anything is money. We worship money. The one color that can trump white is green. And you can't bullshit Americans when it comes to the economy. You can't bullshit them when it comes to what's in their pocket. Biden tried, right? Biden's like, hey guys, compared to everyone else, look, America's doing better. And it was, but people didn't feel it. People know what's in their wallet. They can BS about Epstein, even that's not working. They can BS about the 2020 election. They can BS about QAnon. They can BS about the culture wars, and maybe MAGA, they're like, yes, like a cult. But they can't lie to them about what's in their wallet and their checking account. The economy is going south. And folks, we have the numbers. We have our voices. We can march and strike with our feet, but we can also boycott with our dollars. Target, the CEO of Target, had to step down. And the reason why the CEO of Target, who's been CEO for 11 years, had to step down because in the last 7 months, the revenue in Target and the foot traffic in Target has gone down. Why? Because Target said, Donald Trump is president and he's anti-DI. Finally, we can jettison anti-DI. And also, maybe this will help us curry favor with the Trump administration. But folks, if you're a person of color, if you're middle class, if you're poor, if you're Latino, if you're Asian, we used to go to Target, right? So what do? Especially led by black voters and especially by black organizers, we decided to do an economic boycott of Target and an economic buy-in for those corporations that went all in with DI. The corporation that publicly went all in with DI when everyone else backed out was Costco. Costco's foot traffic went up. Target's foot traffic went down. And as of today, it seems that going anti-woke means going broke. Enjoy that, folks. Enjoy it. And as we come to the end, I think fast, I talk fast. I had to get all this information out. Lexi's like, watch, we got 10 minutes left to 7. I got you done before 7, Lexi. I got you done before 7. The emotional support moment of the day, a moment of zen, a moment of catharsis, and something symbolic. Again, people always come to me, watch, I'm nobody. Who am I? I'm nobody. I get this all the time. I always say, I'm nobody too. People say, I'm just an average Jane, an average Jose. What can I do? We all have a role to play in combating fascism. There are more of us than there are of them. And when all of us nobodies come together, we become something fierce, something big. We vote, we strike, we protest, we boycott. And this country loves money. And if we withhold our dollar, the CEO of Target is forced to resign, folks. For tonight's ESM, Emotional Support Moment, a reminder that size isn't everything. Sometimes the smallest voice, the smallest fighter, who might think they're nobody, has the biggest heart. And that's exactly what we need for the task that lays ahead as we're confronting white supremacy and right-wing authoritarianism and fascism. Let's watch this report from our friends in West Vancouver, British Columbia.
We're hanging out in West Van with Scout, a 2.5-year-old Pomeranian. He's all of 6 pounds, but don't be fooled. Under this tawny coat is the soul of a savage defender. Kayla Klein and her husband live next to this lush green space, where the only issue seems to be these visitations. The North Shore's curious and frequently brazen black bears.
It was around noon and I was in the washroom getting ready.
Kayla had the door open because of the heat when in waltzed this guy. Sniffed around the TV a bit and then headed for the kitchen. At this point, Scout was roused and decided, not on my watch. But Scout wasn't done yet. Out of the house is one thing. He wanted that bear off the property. By Thursday, this alpha dog was a star of internet and TV. While Kayla says they'll probably be keeping that door shut going forward. West Van, Paul Johnson, Global News.
Always stand up to the bully. The bully ultimately is insecure, afraid, and weak, which is why he or she is the bully. But when you stand up to them, when you're a small puppy and stand up to them, you realize the bully usually has the weakest chin and the weakest knees. And speaking about why we have to fight out and speak out for the most marginalized, breaking news just happened as we were talking. The education department just dropped its long-standing guidance that directed schools to accommodate students who are not fluent in English. Cruel, racist, stupid. I learned English. I was born and raised in America. My parents said, he'll learn English. They didn't teach me English because who needs English? I learned English thanks to ESL in school. So folks, stand up and fight in your streets, for city council, for school boards. Show up. We have the numbers. We have the numbers, folks. I want to get a quick shout out before we leave. Thanks to Lexi. Thanks to the team for doing a fantastic job. Thanks to Sandra, who gifted 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. That's awesome. Susan Thompson, the hardest working moderator in progressive independent media. Not only does she show up and moderate, she also gives money. Thank you, Susan. We got Dorothy gave a membership. We got Maida Cheryl, always gifts memberships. Mary Baca gave them Brown Mary fee. Thank you, thank you. That'll be another Cracker Barrel that I'll roll. Susan gave another $20. Susan, what are you doing? Sandra Lee Trahan, 50 Mary Trump memberships. Lexi's giving you a clap, a slow clap. In the middle of nowhere, $20. Thank you for referring to the victims as girls. They were children, indeed. Always remind people. They were girls, folks. They raped girls. Kelly, only thing as good as Mary hosting his watch. Oh, high praise. King Kankles will be crushed. Inshallah, he will. He will. Look, America's a big country. I always tell people, America's a big country. There's 340 million people. He doesn't have the numbers. He's drowning in the ratings. Epstein, the economy. Folks, they're going to F up. The Peter Thiel up to with the money and land. What's Peter? Oh, sorry. Let me get that. Thank you, Watch. Thank you. Evil Lynn. Not so evil. The racial makeup of DC is 43% black, 40% white, 4% other. Exactly. That's why they're attacking DC and California and Chicago. Why do you think? Kelly, $10. Thank you. Kelly, another 5 Trump Media memberships. Donna with the $20. Thank you, Donna. Greg, MAGA hates the new Superman movie. It's awesome. I love the new Superman movie. Just came on video on demand. Go check it out. And let's talk about it. And then Susan had another 20. That goes to you, Lexi. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining us. 6,200 people. Mary Trump will be back. This has been Brown Mary subbing in with Jahata Lee. As we keep saying, we do it like Tina, not like Credence, even though we love Credence. I love Credence. I really do. I love Credence. But it's not time to do it nice and easy. We got to be nice and rough. So Brown Mary is here, echoing that Tina spirit. Big wheel keeps on turning. Brown Mary keeps on burning. And we keep rolling down the river, and we're rolling these Cracker Barrels filled with MAGA tears. See you soon.